just recently, we all had the chance to participate in the cornerstone of American democracy. Of course, we're talking about the election. But have you given any thought to that other cornerstone of American democracy, the one where a small group of individuals decides, well, the fate, really, of disputes? We're talking about jury trials and jury duty. We're starting a two-part segment here with Tom Sinas of Sinas Dramus Law Firm to take a deeper dive into that topic. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to start, though, with kind of an odd question, and that is, it's topical because jury duty and trial juries and COVID-19, that had to have an effect, right?
Yeah, those things did not mix well, obviously. Difficult to have a jury trial in the middle of a pandemic when you're gathering people in close quarters and doing a lot of talking. So as people obviously know, over the course of 2020 and into 2021, there were very few jury trials around the state. And that was true in both civil and criminal cases. In our justice system, we prioritize criminal cases over civil cases because criminal defendants have certain constitutional rights to speedy trials. So during that very difficult period of time, judges did the best that they could under those challenging circumstances to process trials and jury trials when they could, generally starting first with criminal trials, because even though the pandemic happened, we still had criminal behavior out there, and we still had cases to process that had been charged before the pandemic. So over time, as with other things in life, we are seeing this loosen up. We are starting to see jury trials come back. We saw that throughout this year in particular, some last year, and this has varied location to location. Some places did none, some continued to do it. But generally, I think you can say that jury trials of all shapes and sizes now, in the end of 2022, are coming back in the state system, in the federal system. In our state system, we have district courts and circuit courts. And again, judges are handling the prioritization of cases differently. But I think now we're seeing jury trials of all stripes back into our life, thankfully.
And because of that, I'm sure jury duty is a thing that may affect many people. Now, the word duty is in there, but it's really a constitutional right, right?
Yeah, it is. And we say that, and sometimes you wonder, well, where did that come from? Well, it actually comes from two constitutions. It comes from the United States Constitution, and then, of course, the state of Michigan's Constitution. In the United States Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, in the first 10 rights that we were given, included jury trials for criminal cases and jury trials for civil cases. Now, for civil cases, that right has been deemed to apply only to federal cases. But along the way, we've had state constitutions, like in Michigan, that give people that constitutional right in a civil case. So in short, all participants in the civil and criminal justice system have the right to a jury trial. There are a few narrow exceptions in the civil side, but this constitutional right emanates from the U.S. Constitution all the way through our constitutions. And that's why it is accurate to say that it's a constitutional right and one of the most important constitutional rights because we all share it.
When it comes to serving on a jury, who can do that? Is it open to all?
It's an excellent question. Yes and no. Generally speaking, it is open to all, but there are some logical limitations that you would expect. So, for example, you have to be a United States citizen. You have to be over the age of 18. You have to reside in the district or the circuit, in other words, the jurisdiction where you're being. Some limitations. Those who have been convicted of felony crimes are not allowed to serve. And certain people can request an exemption. So, for example, people over the age of 70 can request an exemption from jury service. If you've been called for jury duty more than once in a calendar year, you can be exempted from serving again during that calendar year. You also have to be able to communicate in English, and you have to be physically and mentally able to carry out the functions of a juror. So there are those limitations, but as you can gather, most of the people in our community are eligible, as they should be, to sit on a jury.
Now, when someone receives that summons to serve on a jury, well, there's been a whole industry of how to get out of jury duty, right? It's something that gets looked at as something that we want to get out of. Can we reframe that?
I think we can, and I think we should. I think we need to remember that this is one of the hallmarks of our democratic system. It's one of the basic principles on which this country was built. It wouldn't have been in those Bill of Rights if it wasn't so fundamental. And it's easy, of course, when it's not your case, and we all have very busy lives. It's hard to interrupt our lives. And when it's not your case that's going to trial, it's of course easy to see this as a duty that maybe you don't want to have to participate in. But when we all participate in it, we all get to participate in this vibrant form of democracy that matters to all of us, depending on if and when we need the system. But also, I think that if you talk to people who sit on juries, they will tell you, as they've told me, what a rewarding experience it was for them. Not necessarily easy, but how they felt like they participated in something meaningful. And of course, they had what all juries have, which is the ability to have a direct say in a dispute that is of importance. And so I think when people step away from the experience and from the logistical difficulties, I think hopefully most people can think of this as something vitally important and something where they're actually making a meaningful difference in the functioning of our democracy.
Yeah, it is a very direct way to participate and be part of an American democracy. Thanks for all the great information, Tom. I know that we're going to dive even deeper into this next week as we talk about those summons and the selection of a jury and the deliberations that they have. All of that coming up in next week as we continue this two-part segment, diving into jury trials and jury duty with Tom from Sinas Law Firm. Thanks again, Tom.
Thanks, Todd. Looking forward to it.